Hello and welcome. We are here for Ashley's Heart Song. This is the place where we get out of the stress and back into our body, our life, and our business. When we tap into the song of our heart, that is when we master the mind and the stress that can steal our lives. I am Ashley Toy, your host. Thank you for joining me for today's episode, where we are going to dive into a three-part series, and talk about dedication to yourself and dedication to the goal, the vision that you set for yourself at the start of a year. If you're watching this show live with me, then you know that we are starting our second quarter. And usually by now, most people that have set goals for the new year, they have fizzled out. And that is so painful, not only mentally, but emotionally as well. It creates a stress energy within. It decreases confidence. It decreases your belief in yourself and the belief in yourself that you can follow through, that you can achieve what you set for yourself. And all of that creates this. There are times when I've noticed within myself that there's a melancholy feeling within. And that feeling of melancholy, the feeling of the humdrums, the feeling of the muck puddle, wearing that every day doesn't feel good. And it keeps you stuck. It keeps you from pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and giving it another go. It keeps you from creativity. Keeps you from being able to line things up objectively so that you can get it done. So what we're going to talk about today is those things that we do in the very beginning when we're setting these goals that steer us wrong. And before we get there, though, I want to just ask you, where is your vitality right now in this moment in regards to the goal that you set for yourself at the start of the year? Where is it for you? Are you feeling hopeful? Are you feeling on point? Do you feel just that energy inside of you that just keeps you going every day? The enthusiasm? Or are you feeling like you've really messed it up? Like, man, I have done it again. I have not followed through. Maybe your vitality is feeling depleted, fatigued, worried. Just think for a moment, where are you with your vitality score in regards to how you started at the first of the year? Are you staying on point? Are you staying inside the rev? Are you staying inside the enthusiasm? Are you staying inside the courage to continue to take that next step? Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you've totally failed, and 10 being you are on point and knocking it out of the park. Where are you on that scale? Now, this is not a time for you to judge yourself or be critical. This is a time for you to go, the pattern did it again. Because it's all a pattern. It's not you. It's not who you are at your center. It's not who you are at your core being. It's not who you are in your heart. This is just a pattern of how things have unfolded for you in the past, and it's just showing up for you again so you don't have to work so hard, so you don't have to think so hard. Our brain loves, loves, loves to keep us from having to work hard, so it saves that by creating patterns of behavior that it produces whenever there's a situation that is similar to the past. It produces that pattern automatically so you don't have to think about it. So now it's time to create a new pattern. And that's where we are mentally with this, is it's not a time for criticism. It's a time for, I can start anew and do this in a better way. Do this in a way that is going to bring success for me. That's what this journey is all about. It's about giving it another go. So when we look back to the beginning of the year, look at the goals that you set. Were they realistic or unrealistic? Many times we put unrealistic goals in place, and it can be unrealistic in the sense that the timing you put on it is not long enough. Could be that the action steps related to it aren't near the action steps that it needs to be for a goal that big. Maybe those goals are just outside your reach for the year. Maybe it's going to take 2, 3, or 4 years. And in that, then that's the place where we want to, that's the place where we will want to look again and reword the goal, reword the unrealistic goal, put it into a concept that is able and capable, right? Because we don't want frustration. That's what the unrealistic goals lead to. Another way that people fail when they first get started is the lack of immediate rewards. Y'all, we love rewards. Our brain loves rewards, and it's wired to seek comfort. It's wired to seek that gratification that, yeah, I did it. And so when progress is moving slowly, or when progress is like there's a long time between the yays, then our motivation to continue on will diminish, it will wane. And so we want to look and make sure that we are rewarding ourselves in ways that will keep us going. It's very important to go, I did it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so important to do that. Even if, let's say your goal was to lose weight this year, lose fat weight this year. And one of the things you were going to do was the mind body nutrition tip of eating slow and with awareness. Then why not at the end of the day when you're reflecting back on your meals and wow, you did 2 out of 3, you did slow and with awareness. That is a time to celebrate because that's better than what it was before. It used to be 0 out of 3. So this is a time when you go, yes, I did it. And you want to do it with enthusiasm and with energy because the brain goes, ooh, I love this. I love this. And then the brain will, the next day will show up for you and it will remind you to go slow with awareness. And then when you do it for 3 meals that day and you're reflecting back on it, you get to celebrate. The brain's going, yeah, give me some more of that good stuff. Woo! I did it. Yes. Bringing in that enthusiasm, that energy helps you stick with your goals, with your actions, with your entire being. You are able to stay the point. Now, there is one thing that keeps us from being successful every single time. And that is that pattern that shows up as fear of failure. This is pressure. So much pressure. When we have that fear of failure, that is just psychological pressure on us to succeed this time. This type of fear of failure leads to procrastination. It leads to you abandoning your action steps, abandoning all effort due to the fear of failure. But really, many times, it's not necessarily the fear of failure, but it's the fear of success. You know what your life looks like when you have failure. But what does your life feel like when you have success? How will it be different? You know what to expect every time you fail. But when you succeed, do you know what to expect? And that right there is scary for a lot of people. How will my life change? How will I be different? Will I lose friends? Will I gain the kind of friends I don't want? Will I manage it okay? Will I be able to manage that success in a responsible way? All of that can be scary. And that right there will keep you from succeeding. Then we have that good old perfectionism. We spoke about this a couple of episodes ago. Perfection can lead to some paralysis. It leads you to not taking those action steps, to not fulfilling them. It leads you into this fear that you're going to make mistakes, that you're not going to meet the standards that you or other people have set for yourself. It prevents you from taking action consistently. Get rid of the perfection. That is simply a fear-based emotion. So whenever it shows up, we emotionally resolve it from our mind and body complex so that we are not hindered by perfectionism anymore. Be sure and get rid of that. Now, it's very fun to work with this topic of our resolutions, our New Year's resolutions. It's fun to work with this topic because it leans into that component of vibrant health and vitality that I love, and that's the emotional aspect of us, that center of intelligence that is all about our emotions. And we women can be emotional beings. We are emotional beings. What do I mean by can be? We are emotional beings, right? We ebb and flow with the tide, and sometimes our emotions are high tide, and sometimes they're low tide, and sometimes they're just right in the middle and just right. So I wanted to go over some emotional factors that can keep you from being as successful with your goals as you would love. Number one, emotional exhaustion. Y'all, it is so thrilling to envision what you would love. It's thrilling to write down those goals. It is thrilling to think about the possibility of even reaching it and doing it. But that can quickly turn into stress and burnout because the fear of failure, the fear of success, the perfection. So when we're setting these goals, we want to be on the lookout for how this could work against us. What patterns have I had in place that could actually knock me off? That will prevent you from the emotional exhaustion. We must master our emotions. We must learn to work with them, to resolve those fear-based emotions from our bodies so we don't fall into the emotional exhaustion trap. Because when we do, we will not reach that goal. We won't. Another emotional factor when it comes to not being successful at your New Year's resolutions is a lack of connection to the goal. So if a goal is not deeply connected to you, if it is not stemming from the song of your heart, then you will lose interest. You will. You're going to lose interest. If it is not deeply rooted within you, you're going to lose interest. That is the reason why many people, when they go on a diet to lose weight, they're successful for a little bit and then they're not. This is the reason why. There's a lack of connection to the goal, and there's that fear of failure playing in. The emotional exhaustion over doing it again, that roller coaster ride of diet and emotions, it gets exhausting. And because of that, we can get a lack of connection to that type of goal. And you're going to lose your interest in the diet and the way you're eating. Even if it's the mind-body nutrition techniques that I teach, you can lose interest in that pretty quick if you're not deeply connected to the outcome. We must be deeply connected to the outcome of the goal, not the goal itself, but the outcome, deeply connected to it. Just really, connected on a soul deep level. That is when it will maintain your interest. That is when you will keep going even when it gets tough. Another emotional factor that we must take into consideration is that feeling of overwhelm. If you feel overwhelmed when you are going after your goal, then you are more than likely going to stop, because challenges that come your way are just going to have that overwhelmed wheel just keep spinning, and it will derail all the progress that you've made and that you were intending to make. So we want to avoid feeling overwhelmed by practicing presence. When we practice that state of presence, being in the moment with whatever job we're doing, and we don't think ahead, we've already mapped out the goal. We've mapped out the action steps that go with the goal. What we don't want to keep doing is looking ahead over and over and over again. When we are working on the action step, we do not look 10 steps ahead. We only look at the step that we're working with. That's it. And that keeps you from feeling overwhelmed. It keeps you from being overwhelmed because you are working with it in the step that is in front of you in that moment. So being present keeps that on the sidelines. Another emotional factor that we can run into is a discouragement from a setback. Y'all, when we go after something that we would love to achieve and love to attain, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a setback. You are. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is going to be a setback. Why? Because of everything we've talked about so far. Fear of failure, the perfection. We are not all clean of these patterns. Even though some of us have been working on them for a long time, ridding these patterns away, they are deeply embedded in the brain and they just like to come out and play. But when we've been doing the work, we can notice the setback, notice if it was perfection showing up, notice if it was the fear of failure or fear of success showing up. We can see the pattern, the overwhelmed pattern, the discouraged pattern, whatever pattern is showing up, we can then see it, resolve it, and get back to work. So it's truly about, in order to eliminate this emotional factor of discouragement from setbacks, it's to take the Hawkeye view of your progress often, whether you decide to revisit your goals every week, every day, every month, however you do it, always review your goals from the Hawkeye view. Look at it from this, and the Hawkeye view, the way you get there is by transporting yourself to the outcome of your goal. How's it going to feel in your body? How's it going to feel in your soul? How's it going to feel in your spirit when you're there? When you've reached it, what does it feel like? And picture yourself celebrating that you did it. Then you come and visit your goals and where you are. From that viewpoint, that's where you look at your progress. And that will keep you from being discouraged by setbacks. You're going to be able to see the setback and go, oh, I know what happened. That perfection seeker showed up. Got it. That's not me. Remind yourself, that isn't me. The me that is real, that is true, is the one that is experiencing the outcome of the goal. That is who you are. The fifth emotional factor that I wanted to share with you today is the isolation. To feel like you have to go at this alone is typically one of those places where you could fail. Now, on the isolation, we don't want isolation wrapped up in fear. We don't want to. The idea behind isolation is that you're going to have a support system to achieve that goal. And that's super, super important to have a support system. But one thing that you don't have to do when you have the support system is you don't have to share your big goal. You don't have to share it in detail. That is yours. What you share with them is maybe some action steps that you're going to be taking for the next week or whatever. They don't have to know what the end result is. And the reason why I say to keep it yours is there is this saying that says, when you share your goal with people, when you share your vision with people, just sharing it, that you have already received by sharing it and by their accolades to you, you've already received the reward. And by receiving that reward, you lose the steam, you lose the rev, you lose the enthusiasm to achieve the goal, because really, verbally, you just achieved it because they gave you those accolades. You felt them. You went, oh, yes, I know, it's going to be so fun. You achieved it. There's another viewpoint around this same topic, that you've got to share what you want to do so you can stay accountable to it. So I'm going to give you a little hint and a little secret. Your accountability is to a coach, a mentor, your spouse, but it's not for the entire world. It's not for the community that you are a part of, for building gardens in your town, hometown. It's not for, it's not to share out on Facebook to all the world to see. That is for you. But your accountability, and where you're not in isolation, but to where you are inside of accountability, is when you're sharing that with your coach, your mentor, a close friend who will help keep you accountable, your spouse who will help keep you accountable, anyone that you choose, but it's just for a few people. Otherwise, it's just for you. All right? If you have questions on that, be sure and leave them in comment section wherever you see this video shown. All right, so let's talk about some help. How can we need some insights on this, right? And so I have gathered some insights from psychologists and life coaches on why this happens and how you can maintain momentum. On the how this happens, it's how do we lose it with our New Year's resolutions before the first quarter is over? And what are practical tips to maintaining momentum? So here we go. Psychologists come from the habit loop understanding. That's the cue, routine, and reward. And if you've ever seen a demonstration that I've done on habits and transformation, I talk about the cue, routine, and reward. And this loop is wonderful for helping our brain to remember new things that we're wanting to do in our life. So you have a cue, something that reminds you to do the routine that leads to the habit. And the routine, you want the routine, which is the habit that you're wanting to adopt, be in at least 3 steps. You need 3 steps to go with it. And then you have a reward, like, I did it, or, you get to go and sit out in the bright sunshine for 5 minutes during your day, or whatever reward you want to do for doing that. And when you do that over and over and over again, the brain, like we had talked about earlier, loves the reward loop, loves it, and wants to repeat it over and over again. And so when you repeat that cue, routine, reward over and over and over, you're going to build a habit that is long lasting. It works. It truly, truly, truly does work. Now, life coaches, they emphasize the significance of lining goals with your value and your purpose. This is pretty much where I fall into. I love building new habits, and I use the cue, routine, and reward habit loop with my clients quite frequently. But first, we've got to start with what drives us, what brings life to us, our heart song. We established that. Why are we on planet Earth? What is my job on planet Earth? What am I designed for? Why am I here? What impact am I supposed to make? When we have that and then we align our goals with it, oh my goodness, it works so much better. Because every day you're fueling yourself, you're armoring up with your heart song, with your reason for being, why you're here, the impact you're here to make. And when you shore up all that fuel, oh my gosh, woo, you are a direct hit towards doing everything you'd love to do in your life. Having the physical vitality that you would love. Your soul is knocking it. It's in alignment. Your three centers of intelligence, head, heart, emotional center, are all in alignment. And they are in alignment with the spirit of you that has a job, has a mission while on planet Earth. And when all three of those align, oh my goodness, you are gonna soar. It is about training your body-mind complex to adopt this way of operating so that you show up this way and do these action steps every single day so that you stay on course with achieving your goal, what you would love for this year. So here are a few steps for you. How to maintain your momentum. Find your heart song or your why, your purpose, however you want to do it, but find that. And if you're interested in learning about the heart song, please reach out to me, direct message me, and I would love to help you with that. I hold virtual retreats doing this process, in-person retreats, helping people to find their heart song. It's beautiful. It is an amazing, amazing adventure into you. I love it. So be sure and seek me out if you would love to pinpoint your heart song. And we set smart goals, y'all. This is number 2. Set smart goals. They're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. You're more likely to engage and stay motivated by them as long as you are inspired through the song of your heart. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate them. Woohoo! I did it! I mean, whatever way you can celebrate, doesn't matter how small it is. One way that we do not reward ourselves is with food. We don't reward ourselves with food, with treats. Not like that. We want to reward ourselves with something that makes our brain feel like, oh yeah, this was good. And the thing that makes our brain feel really, really good is that emotion of enthusiasm, the emotion of celebration, the emotion of you giddy with delight, I got this. That is what our brain is looking for. Yes, we could feed it sugar and it would get that little high, but that's the kind of high that's not long lasting. The kind of high that's long lasting is the one that you feed it through enthusiasm. Feed it with energy, vitality, yumminess. That is how we keep our motivation high. Build a support system around you. Build a support system of people who encourage and support you on your journey. Accountability partner, mentor, coach, whatever you would love, but ones that will help keep you on track. And then y'all, there is one thing that we must all do when we are looking at achieving the goals, achieving our heart's desire, and that is embrace flexibility. We must be open to adjusting our goals and strategies whenever it's needed. That's why we take that Hawkeye view every week, every month, however often you want to look at your goals. You're looking at them and you're evaluating them. Okay, what needs to shift? What needs to move? What action step isn't working? What is working, and how can I repeat it even more? Right? It's just moving with it. Life is unpredictable. So we must show flexibility as we're navigating our way through our life goal, our heart's desire. So beautiful. So try incorporating any and all of these and see what it does for you over the course of the next month as you gear yourself back up to giving it another go with your vision for this year, for your New Year's resolutions. Go back to starting point. This is the start of the second quarter. Whenever you're watching this, it's your new beginning. Reevaluate, get anchored in, find the song of your heart, the reason why you're here, the impact you're going to make in the world, and let your goals be fed from that. And you will reach your goal. You will experience success. So reflect on your own experiences and identify the personal triggers that are losing momentum for you. What are those personal triggers that are losing momentum towards your goal? And I encourage you to go to my website, ashleytorian.com, ASHLY, T as in Tom, ORIAN, ashleytorian.com. And when you go there, there is a free downloadable that is all about the champion mindset and how you can gear up for your new beginning, your fresh start to your New Year's resolutions today, using that to help get your mind and heart set in the direction that they need to go synergistically. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today for Ashley's Heart Song. Join me next week as we continue to armor up our lives with part 2 in our series of dedication back to our New Year's resolutions. All right. Much love and a big hug. See you next time.